dangerous stuff.
Yeah, and even if you can't trap the queen, you often can like use the queen to win more pieces. But I actually do think you can trap the queen. Rook b5, and does bishop d2 win the game? Is there a better move? Apparently, there's a better
I
move.
was looking at knight b1, then c4 is
Yeah,
saying, but bishop
same.
d2, where is it going? Um,
Rook c1 also wins the queen, probably
c1
more
also
smoothly.
covers all the squares. Yeah,
It's on the board. He's played, well, not that position, but
let's
Magnus has
go.
played rook d5 and king h1. Vishy is in huge trouble.
So I was worried that the position would be too tough for white to handle. Turns out it was too tough for black to handle on both boards. The defenders
Oh,
in
man. And
big,
look,
big trouble.
Jan, look at this. If knight takes c4, knight takes c4, and then d6, I think there might even be rook d2, queen c5, and bishop e3 among. And again, it's like not the only way to trap the queen, apparently, because at this point you could probably even just get away with a move like e takes d6. But yeah, apparently there's a better move. It's +4. Why
Bishop
is it +4?
h4, queen e2, rook e1. Like, this queen is getting trapped on like every square.
Sorry about that. I'm going to put those moves on the board again. So takes d6. Yes, bishop h4. You're exactly right. Queen e2 and rook e1 just traps the queen. Wow.
It's weird that wherever it goes, it's out of squares. The white pieces are just so much more active with these guys on c8 and a8 still sleeping.
Who knew you could play without a queen side? Well, spoiler alert, you can't.
Turns out it's bad.
Damn, these old guys knew something, didn't they?
It does feel like it. I always wonder, even these guys, but in particular a guy like Morphy, if he played the King's Gambit against me, even with all the fancy computer prep, if I would get a +1, I think he would just crush me. I mean, we're not used to these positions, and people would just, activate their pieces, find some tactics. And maybe it's time to bring the King's Gambit, the Evans, bring them all back.
Honestly, what you're saying contains more than a grain of truth. I actually don't like facing the
No,
Evans
seriously.
with black, especially in blitz. It's easy to get the moves confused. And as we see the two-board view, Hikaru versus Amin is actually down the line that you had mentioned. Black has 2 rooks for a queen, but the huge problem is that bishop on c8 is never getting out. It's just buried underneath a pile of rubble. And Bassem is just desperately trying to get that poor bishop out, but his position is just a trash fire.
Yeah, it takes too long. But still, Hikaru has to finish the job. If you go h5, then there's still knight e5 at least.
Vishy can resign. I think he's about to get his queen trapped.
It only has c3 left, and then
Bishop d2.
bishop d2.
But that allows queen takes a3. I think this is the thing to be aware of. Magnus has to be smart about how he's trapping the queen, because sometimes you allow your opponent to give up the queen for like a couple minor pieces, and it's not that easy. So my question to you, Jan, is I think rook d3 is a better move.
Rook
and
d3
then
is cleaner, yeah.
Let me
then
show this on the board.
Just gets a rook.
Bishop d2, you can take the knight, you can take the bishop, and okay, you're still surviving. You got like a pawn and 2 minor pieces for the queen, but rook to d3 can't do the same thing, because if you play queen takes a3 now, white's just going to take with a rook, and here you've only got 1 minor piece for the queen. And it's not a bullet brawl. You can resign here.
Yeah, 10 seconds increment. These guys are so good. Nothing drastic is going to happen. And Hikaru is looking for a way to unbalance this bishop on a1, because he wants to go h5 and make sure the knight can't go to e5. So he's just going to try to chase this bishop away from that diagonal. And probably successfully. No, like, where does a bishop go? Like bishop c3, queen c1 maybe, then h5. Ugh, it looks terrible for the doctor. Well, there's d takes e4.
And Vishy's now officially down a queen. He parted ways with the lady. And he technically has gotten 2 minor pieces for it, but he's going to resign momentarily on the right side of your screen. Ugh.
Yeah. Bad start for Vishy and Bassem. I mean, we should
Yeah,
mention 4 players representing 4 continents here. Not sure we often have that. Magnus Carlsen from Norway, Europe. Hikaru Nakamura. Not sure where he's based nowadays. Los Angeles, USA.
Hikaru.
Bassem. Yeah.
Oh, Hikaru, I think still a Florida man with those orange walls, but he travels a lot. Those guys are jet setters. And rook takes b6 by Carlsen, and now he can play e takes d5 and then d takes c6, and then I think Vishy will resign.
Yeah. Vishy Anand, the legend from Chennai in India.
Yeah, not the start that he had envisioned. And it really went off the rails early for both players, the black pieces. Probably the Hikaru game is more interesting at this point, but, you know, this is obviously the fan favorite. Apparently, after EDCB, White even can play bishop f6 and go for checkmate.
Come again?
In this position, bishop f6, among other things, is
Oh.
possible and very strong.
Once again,
Takes.
this bishop on c8 and the rook on a8, they aren't really contributing much to the cause.
But he's taken on c6. I don't know why this is a brilliant move. I think it's because at the end of the line, he wants to play bishop e7 and pick off the other rook.
Like DC, ED, CD, bishop e7. Yeah, that's bad news. But also, white is just a piece up, right? So once the dust clears, Vishy can very much resign.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has to go BC and then CD just so that he can save his rook. But Magnus has a million ways to checkmate there.
Yeah, which he does resign. Yeah, very. Second